Well, here I am on another adventure, and Bernie has sent his buddies to keep an eye on me while I go. So, I'll see you after this. Today's video is sponsored by Heart of the Tribe Gallery, where art meets community. More about that later. Well, so here we are on a train again, and this time I'm heading up to Derby, and I'm heading up to what's being called the Great Gathering, the greatest gathering even. It's a railway event at what is the largest existing railway works in the country up at Derby, at Litchurch Lane. And we're going to go up and we're going to see lots and lots of locomotives and lots of people, because the whole event is sold out. Completely sold out across 3 days. I suspect it's going to be rammed. We're in there tomorrow, which is Friday. So today is just me going to Derby and getting into my room. I might have a look through the centre of Derby, but basically, if not, I will see you at the event. And here is the Manchester Piccadilly train that brought us in as far as Cheltenham Spa, as you can see on the wall over there. Well then, ladies and gentlemen, I have arrived at the Alston Works at Litchurch Lane, which is where the greatest gathering is taking place. And it looks like there's a queue a mile down the road to get in. So let's go and find the back of the queue and join in. Well, I've made it to the end of the queue, and according to Google Maps, we're about a mile from the entrance. It's a mile-long queue to get in, ladies and gentlemen. Oh dear. So here we are at 11:05 at the start of the queue, waiting to get in. One thing we do have is a plentiful supply of classic buses, bringing people out from town to keep us amused while we queue. There are buses and coaches from many years right up to fairly modern coming through here today. Wouldn't be classic buses without a route master. And they are from all over the country. And still we queue. Well, here I am back at the bus stop where I got off 40 minutes ago, still not in. Just a quick swing around as we enter the premises. So here we are, we've made it into Litchurch Lane Works, Stockton. It took half an hour to queue in to get here, but now we're in. As you can see, we're at the main entrance area. I'm going to go and find out where everything is, and then we'll go and have a look at it all. See you there. And ladies and gentlemen, it's HS2. Well, HS2 are telling people they're fully booked. They obviously don't want people looking at their train, do they? Incidentally, I had an interesting conversation with a lady on the bus to get here this morning. She was telling me her son works here, and so she knows quite a bit about this place. And according to her, the Alston group aren't doing so well here. Now, I've heard this from no one else, but, you know, she had no axe to grind. She was just saying her son works there and he's worried for his job. They tried to send him abroad for 6 months at a time to France. Engine over there, making all the noise. They say the little ones are the noisiest, don't they? Well, I think we're going in the right direction because to my left, there's loads of trains and locomotives. And a sign that says your journey begins here. So let's go and see if it really does. How amazing when the first thing you see when you walk in, including this one in the middle, a brace of Class 50 locomotives. Look at that. Woo. This one, 66501 Spirit of 65, was repainted in 2025 to commemorate Freightliner's 60th anniversary. The locomotive's new livery features Freightliner's orange and black colours, along with special nameplate reading Spirit of 65. Class 90 90018. Freightliner operates the largest fleets of Class 90s on the network, with 26 locomotives available to the container traffic department. This is Class 37 37901. This particular example is unique because of its mirrorless MB275T engine, a 6-cylinder unit originally developed for the cancelled Class 38 project. The pairing of a brush BA1005A alternator necessitated significant modifications, including a distinctive peaked roof and a new exhaust system in July 2024. Class 27 27056 was originally built as D5401 in 1962 for mixed traffic work. It spent most of its working life in Scotland, hauling passenger and freight traffic, including the Royal Train in 1983, for which it received the white stripe on its lower body. It was withdrawn in 1987 and entered preservation. It has now received a comprehensive overhaul at the Great Central Railway. Class 57 57604 Pendennis Castle was built in 1965 as Class 47 D1859. It became 47209 in 1974. It was converted to a Class 57 in 2004 for use on the Night Riviera sleeping service. It stands today in heritage-style GWR Brunswick Green livery, applied in June 2010 to commemorate the 175th anniversary of the Great Western Railway. This livery closely resembles the iconic GWR colour scheme. So Avanti brought their pride contest in the exhibition today. Why wouldn't they? Sentinel 4WDH number 10077 is a diesel hydraulic locomotive built by Sentinel, part of Rolls-Royce. Here we are, in the cab of the Sentinel, with a driver's eye view. In 1963, this locomotive served at Croydon B Power Station, handling coal and internal movements with ease. It is now preserved at the Plym Valley Railway. There is so much to see here today that you're not going to see much of me. I'm going to be walking around looking at each of the exhibits and then moving on, because there is just so much to see, and if I don't do that we won't see everything. So here we go, there's more to see ahead. West Coast Railways operates a fleet of Class 57 locomotives. Primarily used for charter services and special trains, they also provide Thunderbird cover for the East Coast Main Line to recover failed trains. These locomotives are remanufactured from Class 47s and are equipped with reconditioned EMD engines, enhancing their reliability and performance. The Class 37 is one of the most successful diesel electrics ever built for the British Rail network, and the most popular. 309 were built, and the first was D6700 here, which was completed in 1960 at Vulcan Foundry. After a career with British Railways, where it was renumbered 37119 in 1974 and 37350 in 1988, it was withdrawn from service in 1999 and became part of the National Collection. Class 55 Deltic 55009 Alice Eden. The Deltic Preservation Society has been instrumental in preserving and restoring Class 55 locomotives 35009, D9015 and 55019. Purchased from British Rail in the early 80s, these locomotives were initially operated on heritage railways. DPS undertook extensive overhauls, including mainline certification. Class 23, the Baby Deltic D5910. The Baby Deltic project is recreating a Class 23 Baby Deltic by modifying Class 37 37372, shortening its body in 3 places and fitting it on Class 20 bogies, and installing the only surviving Napier T929 engine, number 388. The project is based at Barrow Hill Roundhouse near Chesterfield and brings a lost diesel class back to life through preservation. Class 55 Deltic D9015 is another example of a preserved Deltic by the Deltic Preservation Society. Powered by twin Napier Deltic engines, these Cocos were built to haul East Coast mainline expresses from London to Edinburgh. At their introduction, the Deltics were the most powerful single-unit diesel locomotives in the world, producing 3,300 horsepower. In total, 22 were built. Class 17 diesel electric locomotive number 8598. These locomotives were also known as the Clayton type. D8598 was part of a batch of 112 locomotives built between 1962 and 1965. Some of these locomotives were used by the Research and Development Division of British Rail. There's the important bit where they cook lunch. Just another thing you may have noticed, the video's looking a bit weird. It's because I'm using a fisheye lens, because there's so many people here. In order to get close enough to photograph a locomotive, if you don't have a very, very wide angle lens on, you're not going to see a thing. So that's why it looks strange. LNER is marking the 50th anniversary of the National Railway Museum with a striking new livery on one of its Intercity 225 trains. Named National Railway Museum 50 years, 1975 to 2025, the Class 91 locomotive celebrates the golden anniversary and long-standing partnership between LNER and the National Railway Museum. The special livery has been supported by Evershot Rail, from whom LNER leases the fleet. There's a view in these locos you don't often see because it's the back end where the coaches go, but they can actually be driven from that end as well. The GWR Class 43 Castle HST sets are reduced-length formations operating on the Cornish Main Line. 4 sets remain in operation in 2025, which continue to operate on the same services. The HSTs first entered service on the Western Region in 1976 and was stood down from long-distance services in 2019 following the arrival of the Class 800s. Eurotunnel's Class 373 power car number 3999 is a unique spare unit originally built by Alstom in 1996. It was created as an extra power car for the Eurostar fleet and is a tri-voltage locomotive capable of operating on various power systems. As can be seen, a coach has recently been updated and the old fittings are still here to be seen, together with these other parts. Collet King 6023 King Edward II. The mighty GWR King 460s were introduced in 1927, with a fleet of 30 being completed by 1936 for the heaviest express trains. 6023 King Edward II was built in 1930 at Swindon Works and was once seen working from London to the West Country in South Wales. It was withdrawn in 1962 and had a period at Wooden Brothers Scrapyard in Barry. It was rescued in 1984 and returned to steam for the first time in 2011. It is preserved by the Great Western Society at Didcot Railway Centre. BR9F 210-92214 was built in 1959 at the Swindon Works as part of British Railway's final steam locomotives class. Designed by R.A. Riddles for heavy freight work, these powerful locomotives were the ultimate in British steam locomotive design, but some had a very short working life due to the arrival of the new diesels in the 1950s. 92214 was in service for just 6 years and then entered preservation in 1980, having been bought from Barry's scrapyard in South Wales. It finally returned to steam in 2011 and is now based at the Great Central Railway. Here we have an LMS compound 440 number 1000, which was built in 1902 at the Derby Works by the Midland Railway and was later rebuilt in 1914. It was built for passenger work and had 3-cylinder compound arrangement using both high pressure and low power cylinders. The 440 was a continuation of Midland's traditions for small locomotives and operated across key routes until its withdrawal in 1951. Uniquely preserved as the sole surviving LMS compound, it was saved for the National Collection as the first original locomotive that Johnson designed. Stania, Princess Royal 46203, Princess Margaret Rose. Once kept as a static exhibit at Butlins Holiday Camp in Fwelly, LMS Princess Royal 462, Princess Margaret Rose, was originally built in 1935 at Crew Works and is the only LMS Pacific to have visited Derby Works for major repairs. It visited in 1951-52 to overcome loose cylinders. These locomotives were designed to haul the heaviest express trains on the West Coast Main Line and led to the creation of Stania's Princess Coronation class in 1937. So here's a useful little bit of a truck. It doesn't know if it's a locomotive or if it's a lorry. It has the best of both worlds. How cool is that? Right, so that's the West End shed behind me that we've just left. So I'm going to head over this way now, which is over there. I wouldn't mind finding a coffee and a sit down to have a look at a map to see where everything is, because I'm driving blind at the moment. I'm just following people around and going where the locomotives are. So I'm going to get a coffee and a map and go from there. So here it is, ladies and gentlemen. The reason we're all here. Locomotion. Locomotion number 1. Built in 1825 by George and Robert Stephenson, was the first steam locomotive to haul passengers on a public railway. It marked the start of the modern railway as we know it today when it undertook its maiden run on the Stockton and Darlington Railway. Constructed with a horizontal boiler, it demonstrated the future of travel at a time when towns and cities had no direct link except for horse-drawn carriages. After retirement in 1841, it was preserved and displayed as an important piece of railway heritage. Today, it is housed at the Locomotion Museum in Shildon, County Durham. Riddles 3MT262T. BR3MT262844-5 is a new build project to create an extinct BR standard steam loco designed for operation on heritage railways. The original locomotives were built in the early 1950s as part of the BR standard programme, but all 45 were scrapped. They were versatile locomotives and the new build project has reached a stage where the boiler has been fitted to the frames. I tell you what, if I'd have had any idea just how big this is, I would have booked for 2 days and stayed another night. I don't think I'm going to get around all of this in a day. There's just so much here. Nice to see a bit of narrow gauge action going up. Class 67-6005 King's Messenger. The Class 67s were built by Alston at its factory in Valencia in Spain between 1999 and 2000. They are represented by 6005 King's Messenger, which is carrying its Royal Train claret livery. It is one of 2 Class 67s to carry this colour scheme, which have been dedicated to the operation of the Royal Train, the other being 67006 Royal Sovereign. Both are maintained at the Stockton depot. Class 99 locomotive 99001 is the first of a new generation of hybrid freight locomotives developed by Stadler Rail for GB Rail Freight. Unveiled in 2024, it is designed to operate on 25 kV AC electric lines and via a 1790 kW Cummins Stage 5 diesel engine. The locomotive features cocoa wheel arrangement and has the maximum speed of 100 miles an hour for passenger and 75 miles an hour for freight operations. Class 47, class 37 adjacent. So this bad boy is Loram's RGX series rail grinder. It is one of the latest on-track plant machines to join the fleet. Delivered in 2025, the RGX is designed to reprofile rails on the move to maintain the rails to the highest standard. Well, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I don't get bored of 37s. If I see a 37, my camera comes out. They're just beautiful locomotives. Absolutely love these things. This one's Teesside Steelmaster. And we've reached the bit that people will probably want to see more than anything else. Steam locomotives. And straight away in front of me I can see Sir Nigel Gresley. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the last time I was this close to Sir Nigel, it was at Carnforth. Steamtown in Carnforth, which is sadly no longer here, which is a real shame. That's the office up there. Look at the beautiful brass work.
Before you start, right? So that'll run out, and then you're down to the tops of the tubes, and then the oil will just slowly wick up with it by the tails, and it'll go down the tubes in drips. And that is enough to get you from London to Edinburgh. Those drips, and also under the first two hatches on the side, below Nigel Gresley plate, and this one, they've oil boxes behind there, and the ones at the front, they're big. They hold about 2 litres of oil, and they do the slide bars, and the bogie pivot, middle of the bogie pivot. So there's enough oil in there to London, Edinburgh. Because obviously it used to be non-stop.
Of course,
But now, when we go on a charter, we go to a destination, we've got time to go around and top them boxes up.
I think
and the idea is that they all flow at a certain rate. That depends on the number of tails you've got.
Of course.
The more tails you've got, the more oil drips you're going to get down. When we stop, maybe we'll loop to let some things pass, and we've got like 20 minutes. We'll get out. Duty engineer will go around with infrared gun. He'll check the wheel bearing temperatures, the rod, big end bearings, and the rod end bearing. And also, if you're in the right place, you can go through the back hatch, and you can get on the middle big end and get the temperature. And the temperatures are quite low. And it's amazing how much air goes through the middle underneath. And your bearing temperature is probably about 50 degrees. And the little end behind the cylinder, there's a lot of air goes around there, and that can be down in the 30s. So it does run quite cool. So if you stop and something's at 90, you go, oh, hang on a minute, this is right. And you do something about it. And wherever we stop, we'll try and get some temperatures, and we've got a log. And if something's mega high, we don't know why, then the engine will come off the train. You know what I mean? You can't afford to mess around and have something melt on you or catch fire. So, I mean, the A2 it's not that long out of overhaul, and there's still some things which are, that they're still working on to get right. It's got smaller wheels, so it hasn't got as high a speed capability as this, because it's got smaller wheels. In some ways it's not as smooth as this, so it is a different loco, and it's got the roller bearing, the driving wheels are roller bearing axles, whereas this is like the oil white metal bearings. The A2 is more powerful than this. And the A1 is like the A2, but it's got bigger wheels, same size wheels as this, so the A1 is good at 75. The A2 is not good at 75. So that were the A2s were more designed for Scotland when there were less high speed running.
Yeah.
If you see it out on the main line or any other stops, you know, you always ask to get on the footplate. If he comes into a station there for 20 minutes, we normally let people on. As long as the trade crew's not in a bad mood and you know things are going all right. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. That was fascinating.
LNER A4 60007 Sir Nigel Gresley was built in 1937 at Doncaster Works. LMS Jubilee 460 number 45596 Bahamas was built in 1934 by North British. Designed by William Stanier to handle express passenger services, part of the Jubilee class of 191 locomotives, Bahamas worked across the LMS and British Railways network and was unique in having an experimental double chimney. Withdrawn in 1966, it was saved by the Bahamas Locomotive Society, which has restored and maintained the 460 ever since. LNER A2 462-60532 Blue Peter was built in 1948 at Doncaster Works to an Arthur Peppercorn design. It was built for express passenger work and operated on the East Coast Main Line. It was allocated to York Shed initially, and it was allocated to Scottish Region from 1949 and became the last steam Peppercorn Pacific to be overhauled at Darlington Works.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you see me here in front of the Flying Scotsman, currently number 60103. It's currently restored and running again, which is a good thing to see. It's a beautiful locomotive. I'm surprised there's not more people here looking at this than looking at the other ones, but hey, here it is. It's here and it's famous and it's running again, which is good to see. I always knew it's 4472, but hey, I'm not going to split hairs over a few numbers.
LNER A3 462 Flying Scotsman. This locomotive was built in 1923 by Doncaster Works as a Gresley A1 and was later rebuilt as an A3 in 1947. It gained fame as the first steam locomotive officially recorded at 100 miles an hour and hauled the prestigious London to Edinburgh Flying Scotsman service. LMS Black 5 460-44932 was built in 1945 at Horwich Works, part of the highly successful Stanier Black 5 class for the London, Midland and Scottish Railway, which amounted to 842 locomotives. These mixed traffic locomotives were renowned for their power, reliability and versatility across passenger and freight duties. Withdrawn from British Railway service in 1968, 44932 was saved for preservation and returned to steam in the 90s. LMS rebuilt Royal Scots 460-46115 Scots Guardsman was originally built in 1927 and was rebuilt in 1947 with a new boiler to improve performance and reliability. The locomotive was originally designed by Henry Fowler, but the rebuild was managed by William Stanier. Scots Guardsman was preserved in 1969 and restored by enthusiasts, becoming one of the only two surviving examples of its class. Furness Railway 040 number 20 was built in 1863 by Sharp Stewart & Co. for the Furness Railway in Cumbria. It is one of the oldest surviving standard gauge steam locomotives in the United Kingdom. It soon became too small for the traffic growth on the Furness Railway and was sold to the Barrow Hematite Steel Company in 1870. With five other locomotives, where it continued in service until 1960 when it was replaced by diesel traction. After a period in the grounds of a local school, the 040 was purchased privately in 1983 and returned to steam in 1998. GWR Hall 460-4930 Hagley Hall was built in 1929 at Swindon Works for the Great Western Railway. Designed by Charles Collett, the Hall-class locomotives were versatile mixed-traffic engines. Hagley Hall served across the Western region until it was withdrawn in 1963, after which it was sent to Wooden Brothers Scrapyard in Barry. Rescued in 1972, it was restored by the Severn Valley Railway, returning to steam for the first time in 1979. LMS Mogul 260-13268 was built in 1934 at Crewe Works as part of a fleet of 40 locomotives, which were development of the Hughes Fowler Crab 260 by the addition of a taper boiler, influenced by William Stanier's time at the GWR Swindon Works.
Lovingwell Haysham, these converted buses are now a thing of the past.
The Class 142 Pacer units brought simple, lightweight, four-wheel passenger vehicles to the railway in the 1980s, with 142013 being delivered from Derby Works to Newton Heath in late 1985 for the Greater Manchester Passenger Transport Executive. After a long career in service in the North West, the unit was preserved in 2020 and moved to the Midland Railway. The Class 345 Aventral units, constructed by Alstom at the Derby Litchurch Lane works, are 9-car electric multiple units designed for transport for London's Elizabeth line. Manufactured between 2015 and 2019, a total of 70 units were delivered in June 2024. TfL ordered an additional 10 units valued at approximately 370 million. To meet growing passenger demand and to ensure the long-term viability of the Derby facility. These trains are equipped with advanced signalling systems including CBTC, ETCS, AWS and TPWS. Here is another stunning Jubilee, this time 45627, and this one's in steam. Like the other Jubilees, they were built in 1934 by North British, designed by William Stanier to handle express passenger services. They built 191 of these class, and Sierra Leone worked across the LMS and British Rail network. Lloyd Merchant Navy 462-35028 Clan Line was built in 1948 at Eastleigh Works for British Railways. Designed by Oliver Bulleid, the Merchant Navy class featured innovative engineering and powerful performance for express passenger duties. Clan Line served on southern region routes including hauling the Bournemouth Bell and the Golden Arrow Pullman trains. Withdrawn in 1967, it was preserved by the Merchant Navy Locomotive Preservation Society. With an event of this size, there's bound to be railway people around, and here is Michael Portillo, famed for saving our railways from Thatcher's axe.
Yes.
Thank you so very much for saving the railways.
That's fine, thank you.
It's really appreciated. The man that saved the railways, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Yeah, I see you.
Well then, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. I have been defeated by time and by hunger. I haven't eaten all day, and the place is now winding down. So I'm going to jump on a bus, head into town, find something to eat, and call it a day. So I really hope that you enjoyed today's video. There's something in there for everyone. We even met Mr. Michael Portillo. Who'd have thought that? But for now, from me, at Litchurch Lane here in Derby. Till the next one, see you later. The Heart of the Tribe Gallery is a community art gallery situated near the top of Glastonbury High Street. They host amazing exhibitions supporting local artists, and they have a beautiful secret garden out the back. So be sure to check them out and support local art.